Hello and welcome to On the Record, a debate-style television talk show where Bahamians will find the balanced, true and open debate they've been looking for. Bay Street, home of the foremost expression of Bahamian culture in the Bahamas, Junkanoo. The annual street parade, unique only to this country, can bring together the king and the commoner. Junkanoo is hard work and serious competition and held as a sacred art form by most of the serious competitors. But increasingly, spectators and some participants are becoming increasingly unhappy and even annoyed with the reoccurring issues with these parades. Tonight, we're going to explore the topic, the Politricks of Junkanoo, with Junkanoo leaders Darren Bastian, who's a former chairman of the One Family Junkanoo Group and president of the Enigma Carnival Group, as well as Silbert Ferguson, chairman of the Junkanoo Corporation of New Providence. We're going to discuss the economics of Junkanoo and its future. Well, let's go to the shop. It's all on the record. I'm your host, Jerome Sawyer. Our discussion begins on the other side of this break.
On is here. Rev Go Play. Go everywhere with Rev Go.
Is your loved one celebrating a birthday, or maybe they're commemorating a special occasion and you don't know what to get them? Why not get them something custom made from Executive Printers? At Executive Printers, you can create personalized calendars, greeting cards, and even playing cards just for them. A one-of-a-kind gift. They can even do personalized cups, mugs, keychains, coasters, and notepads. So come in and place an order today. We are located on Jerome Avenue South, or log on to epbahamas.com for more info.
Did you call the wrecker? I'm here on the side of the road. I can't believe this car is broken down again. Okay, all right, later.
It's beginning to look a lot like cash money. With the game, you know, Island Game is giving away cash to brighten up your day, and the golden ticket that will make you safe. It's beginning to look like the best cash money ever when you play with us.
$120 on your Island Game account and be one of 60 cash prize winners. Or maybe, just maybe, get a golden ticket for a chance to win a new car, trips around the world, or other great prizes. But only if you play at Percy's The Island Game.
I wouldn't preempt the conclave that we're going to have to say exactly what those would be, but it's time for the Junkanoo community to make a determination on whether there's a need for two identical parades. Clearly, the 6 p.m. time worked for many families. It's the most young people, children we had ever seen, and the crowds were massive. Do you need an identical parade on New Year's, or shouldn't that be a people's right? The interview we did immediately after that meeting has been reaffirmed. The Junkanoo groups are absolutely committed to creating a demand for Junkanoo internationally, and they fully accept the dates have to be predictable. Only a catastrophic event should change the date.
Welcome back to On the Record. Discussions on Junkanoo, our annual street festival, steers our ship tonight. Our topic is the Politricks of Junkanoo, and we are discussing it with some Junkanooers and leaders who are well known for their craft. Darren Bastian, former chairman of the One Family Junkanoo Group, and Silbert Ferguson, chairman of the Junkanoo Corporation of New Providence. Gentlemen, welcome to our first show for 2018. Happy New Year to you. If you have not been told that yet, and certainly thank you for coming on the show. We thought to do this show immediately into the new year because Junkanoo is still so fresh in the minds of many and what would have happened. I want to start though with Boxing Day and the Boxing Day parade and the controversy surrounding that. There was a call made about weather. I think it was 2 days maybe in advance. Turns out there was no bad weather. Our meteorologist Basil Dean took a lot of beating from the public because of that. But I want to get to the essence of who called off parade, why, and why was it necessary to do that delay so far in advance?
Well, I don't think it was far in advance. Our rules are very, very clear with regards to inclement weather. We have a 12-hour window. The parade was scheduled for 10 p.m. Christmas night, and we should have made the call at 10 a.m. Christmas Day. Now, all through the week, we had received weather warnings out from 72 hours and 48 hours, and all of the weather pattern showed that we had rain. We could not mobilize to get to the parades. We had a 6-hour window to parade, but then we would have had rain during the parade. And so we couldn't get out of the parade. And so the first available opportunity of dry weather that we saw was going to be 2 p.m. Boxing Day. And that's when the decision was made to move the parade to 8 a.m. Boxing Day evening. Now, the 12-hour time was moved back to 24 hours, mainly because the groups wanted to ensure, based on all of the weather patterns that were reported, that we did not put our groups in harm's way of water, okay? And water is catastrophic to Junkanoo, okay? Persons basically feel that you should come out in the rain, but nobody's gonna sit in the rain to watch it, eh? Mm-hmm. And so the decision was made at 6 p.m. the Sunday evening, okay, to move the parade to Boxing Day evening at 8. And then on Christmas morning, we received a 5 a.m. phone call that advised us that we had an all clear signal. We had to call an emergency meeting on the same 12 hours out at 10 a.m. on Christmas morning. At that time, everything had already changed from the night before.
My question then is, would it not have been more advantageous to have put people on notice that there was a possibility? Because in hindsight, I would think that the group should be ready. So come what may, you should be ready to go at the time that the parade is scheduled.
Groups are ready to go.
So why not just put people on notice that, hey, we have a weather situation and we could make a call in enough time. But to make that call so far in advance and then have to turn around and say, well, no, we're going to push it back 2 hours from where it was. It left a lot of people angry. And what it did as well was that it put a lot of people in a position not to be able to attend. Because those people who had to go to work the next day, I know personally, I sold 4 tickets out of the group that was with me.
Right. But look here, I think it was a great decision.
Do you think it was a great decision?
It was a great decision. See, people do not understand the amount of value we have in our parades. These young kids have the value in this parade. They produce costumes all year round. They want to perform.
But Silbert, the kids are just a small portion of the people that a parade affects. You have working Bahamians.
Without them, you would have no parade, Joe.
So you're saying that the majority of the people who parade are children?
No, I mean,
and the spectators?
And when I say kids, I could talk about me as well as being a kid. But what I'm saying is that the people who prepare this parade, okay, the advice have to be given to them, and they have to have a clear indication. If we have rain, 60% chance of rain, report it.
But don't you have a 12-hour rule? Isn't that the point of the 12-hour rule? So that 12 hours out, we can make a call and make a decision? This isn't the first time we've had a weather situation and we've had to move a parade.
But the Junkanoo groups moved a motion to support everybody in this endeavor to move the 12-hour period back to 6 p.m. Sunday evening. And the reason they did it was because of all of the rentals on the ground, all of the people who has to make the adjustments, the people who are in the parade that has to change their schedules. We thought it was the best decision to make based with the information we had at hand.
I'm going to say this, Darren, I want you to jump into this. As a spectator, I was bothered beyond measure. I was annoyed. Pardon me, but I was pissed off. And if I hadn't paid, I was not going to come. And I can tell you, I had a group of 10. And out of that 10, 4 of those people sold their tickets. Fortunately, we were able to sell them because there were people who didn't get tickets who wanted to attend. Right. But from a spectator perspective, this once again says to us, and don't get me wrong, I love Junkanoo. I come to both parades, I buy tickets, I support, I love it. But again, this says to me that this is not about the spectators. This is about the groups and the participants. And that being the case, let us stay on.
No, but Jerome, understand. Let's appreciate there's 2 sides to the coin. Let's appreciate that. You as a spectator, you are going to pay to basically watch the parade. The year-long preparation of paper and water don't mix.
No, but don't get me wrong. I am not saying to parade during a storm.
Right.
Or during weather. I am not. If it's high wind, if it's rain, I agree totally. We've stayed home.
But you said we made the call to the following day and person. And I guess we truly humbly and apologize for that. Okay? But we could only act on the information that we received.
Then isn't there an issue as well, so but with mobilization? Because when a parade is called, you need at least 12 hours for groups to move.
Yeah, you can't move it out in 12 hours. You need to have a 12-hour window to get into the parade. You need 10 hours to parade, and you need another 12 hours to get out of the parade.
So it takes 12 hours to mobilize a parade?
Yes, sir. You're not familiar with mobilizing. We're going to get you involved in the mobilizing.
12 hours to mobilize a parade. Why?
Because groups are all over this island, and some of them, these lead costumes on the ground can take you roughly about 6 hours to move from the south to get to the north. They're on the ground.
You have numerous shacks. You have a limited amount of vehicles that can move these costumes. So a truck may move this costume, then have to go south to move another costume. So there's a lot of moving parts with this.
Yeah, it's a lot. And I don't think our public truly understands. And we need to educate our public.
There is what
we need to educate our public.
Put it right on the table. Therein lies your problem.
Yeah, we need to educate
the
public.
People do not understand what it takes to bring these parades to Bay Street.
Yes. And if we had to start, one of the things that people have to understand is that these groups are not given enough respect with the amount of money they raise every year. These A-division groups are raising in excess of $300,000 to bring these groups to the road.
Let me see. How long has Junkanoo been around?
Forever.
Forever. And for as long as I have been commentating, I've been hosting Junkanoo a long time. It's like we continue to have the same discussions year after year after year. You and I have sat up in the booth.
Yeah.
I have sat with numerous persons, and I can tell you I could have pulled the same questions from 1995.
Right.
We having the same discussion.
Would you get the same answer?
But we don't seem to be moving forward. Why are we having the same discussions? We can't seem to be able to find solutions to some of the basic issues that plague the parade.
Let's talk about the basic issues that plague the parade. What plagues the parade?
7 hours, 8 hours. I'll give you Boxing Day as an example. The first 2 groups came up within half an hour.
Yes.
We were rolling.
Yeah.
I was like, we're good to go.
Yeah.
Then we waited an hour and some for the next group.
We had a technical glitch. Okay, one of the groups had a challenge. Second group had a challenge. And then once that challenge was solved, everything was rolling again.
Silver, and this is what I keep saying, and I say this across the board when it comes to Junkanoo. Junkanoo's the same time every year. It's the same 2 dates every year. We know when Junkanoo's 2018, we know those dates today. So why is it that we continue? Why are you ain't ready? What kind of technical issue you could be having you do this year after year?
Jerome, that's why we have to educate you as well. You do not understand the interior workings of Junkanoo, just like our public. And we have to get our public involved.
So why don't we fix the issues on the back end? Why aren't we fixing whatever? If these groups have technical issues, what do we need to do to fix the group's issues?
Right. Unfortunately, we had to explain it, right? And I hate to make excuses about Junkanoo because, all of the glitches you would have seen basically cleared up in the New Year's parade. okay? Because we had to...
New Year's was a much nicer.
Yeah.
Less people,
yeah.
but
we had
nicer
to
parade.
we had to make sure that groups understand. If you're going to have a broken wheel, okay, you can't move. A broken wheel on a banner means that you cannot move. Okay, you have a 2,800-pound costume. All right?
You can't move down the road, or you can't move it on the side.
You can't. You move it. That's why they moved it on the side to try to get the wheel back on it. Every group traveled with additional wheels. Okay, so once you have a wheel snap, look here, these roads are not smooth in Nassau, and there are potholes all over the place.
Let's move it off Bay Street then.
Okay, but
Oh boy, that's a
Bay Street.
No, that's
but let me make it
later
clear.
on in the show.
Bay Street is a sacred space for Junkanoo.
Well, therein lies another
Okay.
problem. Gentlemen, we are at the point of a first break in the show. We're having quite a lot. We discussed, Junkanoo is very passionate.
Very,
for me.
very passionate.
I love it. I'm a big fan and a supporter. So when we come back, more on the record, the Politricks of Junkanoo. Stay with us.
This segment is sponsored by Percy's Island Game.
Honey, did you call the wrecker? I'm here on the side of the road. I can't believe this car is broken down again. Okay, all right, later.
It's beginning to look a lot like cash money. With the game, you know. Island game is giving away cash to brighten up your day. And the golden ticket that will make you say. It's beginning to look like the best cash money ever. When you play with us.
Deposit $20 on your Island game account and be one of 60 cash prize winners. Or maybe, just maybe, get a golden ticket for a chance to win a new car, trips around the world, or other great prizes. But only if you play at Percy's The Island Game.
Yep. I got you.
I really appreciate you helping us out.
No problem, buddy.
Yeah, but thanks for helping us move.
Oh, I see you.
What happened, babe? What you mean?
Our news weekend has moved to 7:30.
The Prime Minister wanted to express the great pain and disappointment he experienced as a result of the postponement, which means the parade has to be predictable, that something tremendously unusual has to happen for the parade not to go on when scheduled. So in a nutshell, that's essentially what he wanted to express, that it was a very difficult experience for him as a result of the postponement.
We do have set times and set dates now. The only challenge that we have is our rules dictate that if we have any kind of inclement weather, that we have a policy that we refer to, okay? But we will take the Prime Minister up on the challenge, and we will work hand in hand with the government moving forward.
We're discussing the Politricks of Junkanoo. Our guests, Darren Bastian and Silbert Ferguson. Junkanoo, by its very nature, evokes passion. It creates news. There's always controversy. I said in the break, we can't even have a logical discussion sometimes about Junkanoo. Darren, how is it that this thing that we love so much brings us almost to the point of blows sometimes?
You said it, love. When you love something,
you're
gonna defend it fiercely, and you're absolutely right. I mean, when you look at the story of Junkanoo, it's no reason why we shouldn't love it. It's no reason why we shouldn't defend it in the way that we do. When you talk about Junkanoo, we could have a number of discussions around it, whether we want to talk about the historical perspective or we want to talk about it as a parade. But to me, the part of Junkanoo that I really like is the shack life, because that's where you really get in tune with people, and you lose sleep, you lose your ability to do things as you would normally do them.
You're away from your family.
You're away from your family.
Yeah, your job suffer.
Anyway, yeah, I said it all. But The shark life is when you sacrifice so much.
You said the word sacrifice. Is it that sacrifice really that evokes that passion?
That was what I was getting to.
Okay.
Because you sacrifice so much, then for someone to tell you, I come out in the rain, are you out of your mind?
Yeah.
You know, or you go to Bay Street and you don't get the result that you think you deserve.
Well, yes, which brings me now to our next point. Following the Boxing Day parade, this, of course, is not new, but there was this huge controversy over the results with a bullseye almost on Roots. Even allegations that the judges' pool was stacked.
Oh, boy.
In Roots' favor. I think I would have seen something said about 40 judges were. I don't give any sort of credence to it. I'll just tell you what some of the things are being said. And, you know, particularly when you're looking at an atmosphere or an environment where social media is so pervasive. You know, like I always say, we never let the truth get in the way of a good story. But when you have instances like that, where there's this outcry, but conversely, New Year's was quiet.
Just let me speak to it, because I think people need to understand that as the chairman of the corporation, I get to see and know a lot of little details that you probably would not know. But due diligence was done every year with regards to the judges' pool. July the 1st, we sent out an application to the general public to invite people to join the judges' pool. Once those applications are received, and this year we had 105, we bring in all of the groups. They are to vet members of this pool that they think might have a bias or some allegiance to groups. Now, on the application, there's a very, very clear indication. Are you affiliated with a group or members of a group? And you answer that. Once you declare, that's it. All right? Now, we bring them in. We have shaved the pool.
So you could say no, but be lying.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you could also, you could basically also say that, you know, I have family members in another group. People are only looking at the major groups as to where this ticklish problem happens. This, and read my lips, this has been happening for the last 50 years.
Oh, I know. This is like you heard me say, if this isn't new, I just brought up this year.
Our job has been to try to put a vetting process in place that allow all of the groups to have a hand in removing persons from this pool.
So I can, go ahead.
Why don't we do this, right? Yes, this has been going on for a long time. If it's, hypothetically speaking, 6, 7 major groups, right? Let's just say we need 60 judges,
60,
hypothetically
and that's
speaking.
the number.
Tell Group A, send 10 people. Group B, send 10 people. Group C, send 10 people. You ask every one of the groups to send people to judge. That way, it's sort of eases.
There's a balance?
It's more, there'll be more balance. Rather than us going to the general public, that's fine, you could use some of them, but send every group to send an equal number of people to the judges' scores.
So here's my thing, and this is my question. I mean, I know people who have been through the judging process. So you go in and you're trained, correct?
Right, yeah.
You go through a process, okay? So we train Bahamians.
And they are trained by the Junkanoo groups.
Right, okay, good. So what's to stop us from bringing in non-Bahamians and training them?
Everybody's invited to the pool.
But hold on now.
You want to bring them in.
Yeah.
You want to create another expense. They will have to be here for 8 weeks.
Will you not? Well, okay. Well, not even if it's not an 8-week consistent training. I'm sure you could spread it out and do things. I mean, it doesn't have to be that they're in town for full 8 weeks. I mean, let's explore the whole issue. If you look at some way of subsidizing and paying for this, why can't we bring in judges? Because then you even remove the appearance of impropriety, because perception is reality. And if I perceive that the cheating going on, that's what it's going to be.
But you know, here's the real point behind this. And the group you mentioned that is being criticized after Boxing Day, right? The point that Darren made. This same group has brought this position to the table 5 years in a row. 5 years in a row, they have said, let every group in this competition send 5 people. So and we train them.
They said 10.
Yeah, well,
they sent their people
but see,
aside.
But see,
What's to stop them from doing that? But what is the safeguard of that?
There's no safeguards because what you are dealing with is strictly people being fair to a system. And there's nothing wrong with the system. It's the people who are working the system for you. Okay? And so our job this year, we had 105 judges. After all of the pulling away, we have had a group who sent a letter in after the vetting or just before the vetting and said, look, these 6 people, we knew they had a problem last year. The parade management team immediately removed the 6 people without question. Because if there is any kind of problem, you remove the people to try to make sure the pool is as fair. Now, we ended up with 50 judges. From 105, we had 50.
So 40 of them wasn't from Roots.
Well, I don't know where they were from, but look here. But here's the bottom line, right? At the end of the day, the JCNP does its due diligence. They post the pictures of every judge who was made it through the cut.
So it is publicized.
It's publicized.
Okay.
December the 18th, when the synopsis booklet came out.
Where is it published? I'm just curious.
The Nassau Guardian.
Okay, in the papers.
Okay. And everybody gets an opportunity to see it, and it was published 2 days, okay, in the same week.
You put them online too. You have a Facebook page.
Yeah, the Facebook page, everything is out there.
It was out there too?
But the minute those pictures got out there, those poor 50 judges who were remaining in that pool, basically groups say they could remove all 50 of them. Okay?
That's why we should. That's why we should bring in international judges. That's my point. We should try that, Silbert.
Yeah, but see here, when you say try it, this conclave that is going to come up would sort of speak to that.
You have been in the position, having for many years. I know you protested one family's position on Bay Street, and what are some of the things that would have led you to those protests over the years?
It may have been issues with judges. Sometimes you'll find certain judges or a certain judge may have, their scores would have been totally out of whack of, and they may have shown some level of bias there. So you're gonna find issues like that. Sometimes it may have been a simple calculation that was, we
had a situation where results changed last year.
So, those things happen.
So, this is a post that I put up on my social media page, and I made the point that we can find out faster who the next government of the Bahamas is than we can find out who won Junkanoo.
Oh, no, that's not true.
Well, why is it we have to wait until 6 p.m.? We have to wait till the next evening to find out. I mean, people knew, because everybody knew who won the parade before it was announced. Right. But why does it take so long?
The results are ready.
So why do we take so long to release the results? And then why do we get an instance where a month later or weeks later the results change? Again, that compromises
let me defend it. Let me defend it. And I hate to defend things because 2 years ago you would have probably recognized that we were going to announce the results in Pompey Square at midday, 2 hours after the parade. Okay, we wanted to also have a Junkanoo market.
That's what we used to do.
Yeah,
I remember Brian Gibson used to be out on Bay Street on the bleachers. I know, but sleeping on the air on ZNS waiting for the results.
These scores, there are so many divisions now. Okay, you cannot wait to get these. We have gone little ways in trying to get it digital as well, okay, as we continue to work this platform to get it done. The scores are basically ready at noon. They are completed at noon, okay? But all of the checks and rechecks have to be done before these scores go out.
We got to go to a break, and I just want to say this. That I encourage you all to move to that digital platform. I witnessed myself with mine own eyes. I stood on Bay Street and I watched the judges folding the paper and putting it in one bag that somebody else. And I'm thinking to myself, this seems very unsafe. I mean, looking at it,
it's very safe.
Really?
Yes.
What if someone snatched the bag, or what's to say someone knows stuff something in the bag?
That's all right.
I can have a duplicate thing, and
that's all right. Every serial number on every scorecard in that parade.
Yeah, but Silbert, we need to get that digital system on. This 2018. I mean, this paper nonsense. We've got to move past that.
We did our final testing on the digital platform.
I hope that it is operational this year. We are. I'm being fuss to go to a break. We're midway point in our show. Eat up with Junkanoo and get excited. We're discussing the Politricks of Junkanoo. Stay with us. We're back right after this.
This is an exciting time. We're launching a new and amazing app. It's all about the customer experience, and this has actually been in play for quite a while now in terms of the development and getting it ready for this moment.
We've set out a very clear agenda in Alive that the smartphone device, you know, is going to become the centre of everybody's life.
All you have to do is be a customer of ours, and you can get this app and you can enjoy and have access to our network to be able to watch and view a number of channels, as much as 51 channels.
The RevGo product, you know, building on the great platform that Cable Bahamas and Rev have put down over many years, is the start of that journey to people truly living their life through their smartphone.
And it's going to make the experience more enjoyable, more easier for people to access channels. So we can't wait to get to phase 2 to launch that to our customers as well.
And it's fantastic that the Rev team has brought this to life so quickly in Alive's evolution.
Are you afraid to swipe your card and you don't like to carry cash? If so, you need checks. Executive Printers can make checks for all your needs. They have laser checks, personal checks, continuous checks, and more. All checks have up to 15 security features, so you know you'll be protected. You can even customize your checks. Come and see one of our experts today, or log on to EP01bahamas.com for more info.
Did you call the wrecker? I'm here on the side of the road. I can't believe this car is broken down again. Okay, all right, later.
It's beginning to look a lot like cash money. With the game, you know. Island game is giving away cash to brighten up your day. And the golden ticket that will make you save. It's beginning to look like the best cash money ever when you play with us.
Deposit $20 on your Island game account and be one of 60 cash prize winners. Or maybe, just maybe, get a golden ticket for a chance to win a new car, trips around the world, or other great prizes. But only if you play at Percy's The Island Game.
Whenever you make an adjustment, there will always be persons who are disadvantaged, who would have other obligations for the original date. What Mr. Ferguson has said over the last day or so is that for every ticket that came back in circulation, there are more than 20 persons waiting to purchase. We are committed to is making sure we could document the impact of Junkanoo, the role it's playing in the society, so that when we talk in future, it isn't anecdotal, storied explanations, but we have statistics in order to assess the economic impact of this art form. When we're able to do that, this public is going to respect these artists and artisans a lot more, because they would see the role that they play in a very tangible way in generating income and employment in the Bahamas.
Welcome to the second portion of tonight's show. The Prime Minister of the Bahamas called a meeting with all Junkanoo leaders after the Boxing Day parade. This will be a part of our discussion in this segment. Our topic tonight, in case you haven't noticed, the Politricks of Junkanoo. We continue our discussions with Darren Bastian and Silbert Ferguson. This is really where we begin now to look at the way forward for Junkanoo. You know, as I said at the beginning, we've been having these same discussions over and over and over again. Darren, I'm going to start with you. How do we get out of this rut in some instances where we've got delayed parades? It seems we've outgrown the space. We've got some issues affecting these parades year after year that we try to fix, but it's like, you know, you sort of putting paint on an old car.
Let me start by saying I want to really give Silbert and his team some kudos, because I believe over the past few years they've done quite a quite a bit in ensuring that we continue to improve the quality of product that we put out there for Junkanoos. Also, I want to give some kudos to the artists and the artisans because the way we're doing and creating Junkanoo costumes now continue to get better.
It is phenomenal, and you're right in both respects. I mean, I can't sit and say that I have not seen the progress. I have in some instances, but you know, I mean,
yeah, you're on the other side right now, right? But I think with the trend, in the way that we are moving, we are going to see a better quality product. I think in the future, Junkanoo is going to be a lot more versatile than it is now. I don't see us moving off of Bay Street. If you want to start war, say we moving off Bay Street because Bay Street is a sacred space.
So why not expand the route? Why don't we go further down? Why don't we do some things to make it different? To make it different.
Junkanoo used to go through Parliament Street.
Yes.
Remember that, right?
Okay.
And then I can't remember how long ago it was.
I remember when it moved.
Right. Then we moved it up to East Street. And then Elizabeth Avenue.
Yeah. Okay.
Then there's talk about moving it from the bridge straight down to Arawaki. One straight.
Take it to the bridge.
One straight parade. But moving it off of Bay Street, you will have war in this country. And I've heard people say, "Oh, let's move it off." No, I don't see that happening. There's something about going to Bay Street that is a part of this entire Junkanoo psyche.
Are you seriously looking though at moving the time? Because
time is great for me.
Well,
I actually like the time.
I like the time, yes and no, because
what time are you talking about? The 6 p.m.
6 p.m.
It's a beautiful time.
No, but does that not? I mean, Christmas Day, and I have to look at it from both sides. I always tell people, you know, I have to declare, you know, I'm a lifelong Valley boy. I can never run from that. And Junkanoo is like a religion in my own. You know, we have Christmas dinner.
We go
to get a nap. We got to go to Junkanoo. But does that not, with that time movement now, and the discussion of the time, does that not dip into, you know, the activities of Christmas Day, the Christmas dinner, the family time, etc. Because now you're talking about you got to wrap up, you got to start moving by 4 o'clock.
Yeah, we can't win for losing, because the time was for all that has happened with the Boxing Day parade. The good that is coming out of it is that the Lord gave you an opportunity to see a better time,
or a different time,
Okay, we have tried for 2 years to start the Boxing Day parade at 10 p.m. Okay? Trying to get the same younger audience, get the kids out.
I like the 10 p.m. start, okay? Don't get me wrong.
Both 10 p.m. start were marred by weather. Okay? Now this one that we came out of, the Lord blessed us with a 6 p.m. start, and we had an overflowing of support in the parades. Okay, we have never seen the parade overflowed like that.
This was Boxing Day?
Boxing Day, okay, overflowing.
Who are you saying, more younger people?
More
children?
Children and families, kids got to see the parade.
Yeah, I saw people bringing their kids out, etc. Because I mean, I know that, you know, as a kid, my mother waking me up at 2 o'clock in the morning to go to Junkanoo.
And that itself is important to the development of Junkanoo as well.
That'll be a discussion point.
It also, it's a safety factor as well, because you feel a little safer leaving out to go to a parade at that time as opposed to, you know, 9, 10 o'clock, even 12, 1 o'clock. You know, you feel a little bit safer.
But I know we'll have a lot of pushback from families with Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Okay, because
that's a personal thing for me.
That's sitting around that table and you hear that Christmas story and that prayer for the family.
Yes.
And then you fellowship together and have a meal together, and then it's time to take off for the parades. But once you chip into that, we got a lot of pushback with the 10 o'clock start. But the 10 o'clock start came from a forum we had with the general public, and we thought it was really a great start.
I like the 10 o'clock. Even
the 6,
9.
Yeah. You know, it gives, and yet we had plenty pushback with the 10 o'clock.
Really?
But yeah, but the 6 p.m. start, which we were forced into, mainly because of the dry period and moving the parade.
But it also 6 o'clock, and then you had a day in between almost, so it was a difference. You weren't coming right off of Christmas. But let's move the discussion forward. One of the things the minister talked about, you would have heard the clip earlier, he talked about the possibility of looking at making the New Year's Day parade more of a people's rush. where, you know, people get involved. I see a boss sign and
Yeah.
to my right. Darren, I'm going to start with you. Why would you be opposed to that?
We do a people's rush in July for independence. That's when we do a people's rush, when everybody can jump in the road and, you know, participate with whichever group they choose to. While I have some issues with the competition, I think it should stay at this point.
So what are your issues with the competition?
Because I believe the competition sort of takes away from Junkanoo, in my opinion. And I know a lot of my Junkanoos I'll hear about this a little later. But I'm not big on the competition. I believe that we can do other things to enhance our parade outside of competition, right? But the structure that we have now with the Boxing Day and New Year's Day parade, let's leave it as is. I'm not buying into that people's rush. I do that in July.
Silver?
Well, look here. What is so clear? When I was elected to office as the chairman of the Junkanoo Corporation in 2010, we sensed to create a plan. Our business chairman at the time, Randy Dossett, we presented a plan to have people join both parades at 6 a.m. in the morning, okay? And they would have been able to purchase small costumes. Those costumes.
The second lap on Bay Street.
Yeah, the third lap for the A groups. They would have come right in between that. Those costumes were the pink flamingo, the blue marlin, the yellow elder, and the sun covers the Bahamas. 4 costumes, $299 each, okay, for persons to purchase and join us.
So what was the opposition to that?
Ask the Junkanoo group leaders why
No,
they crushed it.
I'm asking you what happened.
Well, they crushed it.
Why?
They crushed it. They did not want to have this participation, okay, in the parades, okay.
Simply no Junkanoo people selfish.
Because of competition, I believe. And see, that's one of the things that competition does.
So
the aim at that time, Jerome,
is the second lap though really judged?
Yeah. All the laps are judged.
I see no judges.
You see, because one of the things is that we wanted to put this in there to give, because the groups that are coming off of Shirley Street in position 4 and 5, they are coming straight around and have no time to rest.
Right.
And so we wanted to try to put this little caveat in there where we give these groups, and we were given each group 100 costumes. They would have made themselves $30,000, okay, to help with their production. Now, here's when the groups then went against the plan, okay, and Minister Charles Maynard and the ministry had approved the plan, we were going to use the Junior Junkanoo Championship musicians to take this group down Bay Street. But it got crushed.
Progress.
It got crushed.
That's different.
And then we turned around and we brought the carnival nonsense up.
Okay.
So
saving that discussion.
Okay.
We coming to that now. We ain't letting that fly.
Yeah. So
interest in that.
So we had this opportunity to invite our visitors and our locals to join in the parades, okay, to get one of these national symbol costumes that they will keep as a souvenir.
So these would. Sorry, go ahead.
I think that's a brilliant idea. But see,
2010.
And that goes back to my previous point. Competition sort of gives us a small view of how this thing is going to develop. If you'd done that in 2010, by now that would have expanded into something a lot bigger. You would have had more people making money independently from Junkanoo. Because these costumes had to be produced.
Right.
And then with that would come transportation from hotels, a number of other
what about
things.
looking at the option of just, fine, if the groups don't want to do it, then you just create a group.
Yeah, well,
does it on their own.
See, now, once you find that was rejected, okay, you have to now go back to the drawing board of how to make it attractive.
So we throw out the baby with the bathwater.
Just like that, okay? And so we have to basically try to get our parades to the level first, and now we'll be able. So when the minister talks about this adjustment, part of this will come up in my presentation with regards to how we make this happen to get everybody involved.
How do we, though, seriously, and this is a pet peeve for me, it's a problem, but how do we close the gaps on that parade? Because that's what kills it for the spectators. You know, I go back to Boxing Day morning, and I think Colors was out, and then the Colors was coming through Rawson Square and Valley Boys Bottom was in Scotia Bank. And I thought, oh yeah, this a parade now. This is what I'm talking about.
We were all excited.
But then, an hour later.
Yeah. and you know, unfortunately, and you know, let me officially apologize to our viewing public, okay? But we made all the corrections on New Year's Day. And what you saw was exactly what you saw Boxing Day. You saw bam, 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 bam. Now, the gaps in the parade are basically, they are about 10 minutes apart, the groups. They're about roughly 10 minutes apart. There's been the cry that the A groups are too large, okay?
I tend to believe that.
These groups are basically about 600 persons in costumes.
They seem like 6,000 sometimes,
yeah.
honestly.
Okay, and so, you know, if you get these groups down to reasonable sizes, like probably 300,
that has to be a serious discussion.
But we have a different situation because we're going to have more groups.
Okay.
And the time of the parades will be a little
longer. Let me tell you why that's not a bad thing. I remember when Roots came onto the scene and One Family, and they were in a wasteland, it seemed, in this desert. It was a Valley and Saxon duel for decades.
Right.
But now, a big boy struggling. I mean, the Saxons win was the first win they've had in a long time.
6 years,
6 years, and that's unheard of.
Yes.
So now you see the emergence of these I call them the second generation groups.
But this transition is going to happen in Junkanoo over the next 100 years. Because
but then how can you tell me, right? Sorry, sir. How can you tell me that I can't rush for One Family or I can't rush for Roots or whomever by limiting the size of the groups? That's going to be very difficult to do.
It is a hard thing
to do.
because
then that sort of takes away the essence of what Junkanoo is.
I also have another question here. We have an issue with some groups receiving seed money and can't seem to show up to Junkanoo.
Yeah.
But how we fix it, that's the people money, right?
Yeah, this is the people money, and the government of the Bahamas signs a contract with every group that receives seed funding.
So what happens in an instance like that where you have groups who repeatedly don't show up? Do they return the money?
Yes.
They do return the money?
Yes.
Okay.
The ministry will receive an official letter from the Junkanoo Corporation advising that these groups did not appear in the parade. So in an A division, you're getting $30,000 seed funding. If you do not appear in the Boxing Day parade, then you have to return 50% of that.
This rule where now the A group, in order to become an A group, you got to participate as a B group and then move into the...
No, you can go
directly?
Yes, but you have to exhibit.
You have to exhibit in the
right,
B.
You have to exhibit.
Okay, you have groups, I can call their names, but you have groups who consistently... They're in the A category, and you can look at the quality of what they're doing, and you realize that they are struggling.
Yes.
They're at the bottom of the barrel.
Yes.
Some B groups even look better than them. Why does, I mean, is it, why does that continue? Can anyone say, hey, you guys are not at the A group quality or A group standard?
Now, just so we educate the public, it's all about funding, okay? Because you have some groups who can garner a sponsor, and they can garner 3, 4, 5 of them at approximately $50,000 each.
Right.
Okay, and then they will raise the rest. The government adds $30,000. The JCNP adds an additional $10,000, $12,000 to that. So you're getting the $300,000. Some of these groups only have what the government gives and what the JCNP gives, which is somewhere in the neighborhood of close to $45,000. And so if they are able to get the funding, they could compete.
So funding is an issue.
Because Junkanoo have contractors.
I understand. Of course, that's another discussion. Gentlemen, we are at the point of our final break. I am saving this segment. This to me could be the most exciting. This is now where we look at how Carnival is squaring off with Junkanoo. This I've been waiting for all evening. We've got one more break. Stay with us. We are back. More discussions on the record right after this.
Did you call the wrecker? I'm here on the side of the road. I can't believe this car is broken down again. Okay, all right, later.
See It's beginning to look a lot like cash money. With the king, you know. Island game is giving away cash to brighten up your day. And the golden ticket that will make you say, it's beginning to look like the best cash money ever when you play with us.
Deposit $20 on your Island game account and be one of 60 cash prize winners. Or maybe, just maybe, get a golden ticket for a chance to win a new car, trips around the world, or other great prizes. But only if you play at Percy's The Island Game.
Rev Go Play, the new mobile app that delivers your favorite live streaming TV channels, is here, and it's free to all Rev TV subscribers. Download the app from the Bahamas iOS App Store or Google Play Store. Launch the app and log in with your My Account email address and password. The TV Everywhere revolution you've been waiting on is here. Rev Go Play. Go everywhere with Rev Go.
Our position is that those persons who are intending to further develop Carnival, they should do so as a private enterprise. The Carnival companies have been doing just that. We don't intend to stand in their way, nor do we intend to invest a substantial amount of Bahamian funding into it. We believe there are other cultural forms that are priority. It does not mean that at some future date down the road we would not give consideration to looking at a subvention issue, but that is not our position today. Any concert series associated with that weekend, that 3rd to the 5th, must essentially be Bahamian bedded. In other words, Rake and Scrape, Gombe, Junkanoo must be the underpinning if it is to have any degree of government involvement.
Welcome back. This is our final segment of this episode. You've just heard the minister says the government is, or talks about the government's involvement in the future of Carnival. Our topic tonight is the Politricks of Junkanoo, but it seems these days we can't have a discussion about Junkanoo without talking about Carnival. So a couple of things, Darren, and I've been waiting now, salivating over here. Minister announced that government will be sort of cutting its funding. You said it right here doing that. Good. So why is that a good thing, and how will it survive now without all of those millions backed by the government?
First of all, I believe Junkanoo and Carnival to me are two totally different animals.
Agreed, and I'm happy. Agreed.
Totally
yes.
different animals.
Agreed.
I do Junkanoo because that's a celebration of my culture. I do that for free, right? Carnival is business. Two totally different animals. So let me put that on the table. From day one, there was a move afoot amongst many of the major carnival groups to that we should do our best to own this without necessarily.
That's how it happens in other countries.
Pumping millions and millions into it. The government at that time made a decision to do some things. That was their decision. Fine. You're going to find also from year one after, I think the government helped to fund some of the groups from year one, and year 2, 3, and 4, that didn't happen. So you'll find that most of these groups now are being self-funded. Real talk. Where the government has spent the money, I believe, would have been more on the concert series and building the village and that and
those are static things.
That's my belief, right? Okay. But major. But when it came to the road march, those bands put those things on by themselves for the most part, right? Now, where do we fit in with this whole Carnival and Junkanoo? Another thing we need to also consider is that every major band out there, at least 80 to 90% of them, are led by people who are in Junkanoo.
I know that. That is a fact. Right? Yes.
So
most definitely.
Right. So you have Junkanoos involved in Carnival in a major way.
Oh, I know. Yes.
A lot of the costuming that you're going to find now sort of have a Junkanoo feel to it, right? And vice versa. So there's a lot of crossbreeding between how we do Carnival and what we are putting on Bay Street. That is.
But that's all. That has been a criticism of Junkanoo for years. People have said that Junkanoo was inculcating Carnival long before this whole Junkanoo Carnival business came up.
Look at the feathers. Look at the beading. Look at the stonework. A lot of that is carnival influenced, right? Now, I'll be honest with you. I would like to see our carnival take on a more, honestly, a more Bahamian feel. I believe moving down the road, you're going to find the Bahamas putting its own unique stamp.
Like I've seen some costumes, the straw doll costumes, and some stuff that I saw, you know, even in the last 2 years, and I thought, oh, okay, well, this is a little Bahamian.
But I think the challenge that we really face with Carnival is how it started. What was communicated to the public, and to, I guess, a lot of what was communicated out there, truly, in my mind, was a Trinidad-based festival, or Trinidad-looking festival. All of the imagery,
the artists
spoke to that. And now I think we're in a position where, you know, more and more the balance, man, we want to make this more Bahamian.
One of the benefits I saw to it, even the Music Masters competition, it gave a lot of Bahamian artists a forum. It helped to, and I watched from the sidelines, a lot of artists would have been catapulted to the, you know, into the Bahamian music scene as a result of competing in that. But here's my thing, and I'm going to speak from a personal perspective. I love Junkanoo. I've been involved all my life from the time I knew myself. I know going to Junkanoo. This coming year will be my 4th year participating in Carnival. I have never participated in Junkanoo, and here's why. I'm not, no disrespect, I ain't interested in going no shack, building no costume. I ain't interested in that. I can go and buy my costume. I pay for my costume. I pick it up the night before, and I show up. I ain't got to start in no particular section. Because, you know, if you ain't been in the group 10 years, you can't be near the music and jumping. You got to be up there by the bar and you rush into air. You know, then you can't move out your section. You're waiting 3-4 hours for the parade to start. When I get in the carnival, I dancing from the minute I get in, and it's a fun time. And guess what? And no lie, like 4 days later, I'd be like, so who win?
You don't care about that, right?
Because it is such a fun experience. But that, as a Bahamian, that doesn't make me love Junkanoo any less. To me, and this is my personal position, they coexist. Even the music that's associated with Carnival, soca music is so very popular. You know, Bahamians love it. But there are some groups who are so adamantly opposed to it. And so, but I'm asking, do you see this? Do you see it as an encroachment on Junkanoo and on this cultural expression?
Well, look, here's my real position on this. I have no challenges with whatever happens in our country with regards to Carnival. My problem, and I will continue to say it, when the administration pours $30 million
that's a hard thing.
into something new,
that's a hard thing.
And you have had us on the side for 200 years, but the spirit can't get killed. You can't kill the spirit of Junkanoo.
No, it's the spirit of the people.
Yes, and so my thing is that we ought to, and I've heard this administration on their platform basically sort of moving the economic pie of finances over to Junkanoo in this period and removing it away from Carnival. Now, I have yet to see it. And so once that happens, I think then Junkanoo is going to get on this bandwagon it needs to get on.
How, and this goes to a future question, is there a way to make Junkanoo more inclusive and attractive? Because for me, I mean, all of my life, I know Junkanoo, but Carnival is so much more seamless and fun for me. I love watching Junkanoo. I continue to go to parade, but I know if I ever can get out there and deal with all of the things that come with Junkanoo.
I think that can happen. I know that there are some entrepreneurs out there discussing ideas such as that. How do we get people more involved in Junkanoo? And the same idea that Silbert put to the table earlier about doing the fall costumes, you know, can work like that. You go to a particular spot, you purchase your costume, you jump and you go and rush with a particular group. End of story. I think though, moving forward, we need to find better ways to monetize Junkanoo, because
you guys are making money in Carnival. the groups, I mean,
Yeah,
that,
you know.
the premise, you said it, that the groups have been self-funded for a while. So you want to...
That's our own money we putting
Right.
into it.
You,
you know?
okay, but the point is you're
You're moving towards a goal.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think in Junkanoo, one of the things that we can do better at is monetizing Junkanoo. Look at creative ways to make money rather than coming to Jerome Sawyer, sucking responsibly.
Yeah.
And I think that's an opportunity for all of us.
But in trying to get the economic growth of Junkanoo, you don't want to mess with the spirit of it, right?
No.
And so, one of the things that we have presented to the government, as you know, we had owned the space at the dock that had the Junkanoo Expo. Now, we have advised the government on numerous occasions that we want to regain our space there.
That has been defunct forever.
But we have been there. We have been asked to move 5 years ago because the roof had to be repaired. We want to get back in there because we feel like as Junkanoos, we can take advantage of the 4 million people that are stopping at our shore.
Agreed.
If we are able to capture 50% of those people at $5 a person,
it's another experience.
$10 million, and Junkanoo will have its own funding.
Agreed.
You wouldn't need the cry of the government to be involved.
I will say this too, and it's something that I hope you will consider. One of the draws of Carnival is that it's not a one-day thing. You don't just show up for Road March. It's a series of events that get you geared up, and it happens in other countries, happens all around the world. That and maybe we need to look at that model as well. I mean, I know it happens Christmas time and people are busy, but if Junkanoo could be more of a Junkanoo festival, where maybe you could come on, just have music one night, or have some things that get people out and get so that it's more inclusive. Mind you, I love it. But it is, for me, very much a spectator activity. Gentlemen, we're out of time. Silver, I'll give you 30 seconds to wrap up. And Darren.
Well, we're looking forward to great things. I think the conclave that is going to come up sometime here in February, sometime will really, really open the door for Junkanoo moving forward.
Looking forward to it. Darren.
I look forward to two things. I look forward to Junkanoo, us, the creative people in Junkanoo, because we all are creative people, Bahamians generally, finding ways to really get Junkanoo to the point where we fund it ourselves. I'm looking forward to that. I believe that Junkanoo and Carnival will coexist. I don't believe Carnival is going anywhere, and that's my 5 cents. And I love Junkanoo.
Yeah, no, I like you. I love it too. It's like sometimes I feel like I torn between two lovers. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on the show tonight. We hope you've enjoyed your time here.
Thank you.
All the best. We hope that you have enjoyed our show tonight. Special thanks to Silbert Ferguson and Darren Bastian, my producer, technical staff, and of course you, the audience, for watching. Be sure and join us for more On the Record next week. Once again, I'm Jerome Sawyer. We'll see you next time.